Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Firefighters podcast, where we seek to develop, inspire, and motivate the world of the emergency services operator through a series of wide-ranging conversations. Now, before we go any further, just hit that rate, follow, or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It's a key performance indicator for us and helps us reach even more people. Now, here's what we've got for you today. Today on the podcast, we're taking another look into the ever-growing world of firefighter fitness and some of the more incredible individuals who are bringing themselves into this space. They got bitten by the bug and just seem to be raising the level, the standard, the professionalism, the fun, and just such great authenticity of the sort of people that are in our UK Fire and Rescue Service now. Today, my guest is Helena Brown. I first met Helena a little while ago when we both found ourselves at the British Firefighter Challenge, where I was hosting, and she rocked up competing for her Fire and Rescue Service. She's a firefighter here in the UK, and she just absolutely smashed it. Before joining the fire service, Helena had a career as an air steward, and she decided to change gears and follow a long-held dream of being a first responder. She's early in her fire service career. She's going through all of her apprenticeship, and she just embodies that optimism, that voracious interest in developing herself. She's got such a positive mindset. And then after she was victorious at the British Firefighter Challenge last year, we found ourselves once again teaming up on a flight out to Saudi Arabia to compete in the toughest firefighter alive. And things just kind of snowballed from there. The whole UK team just absolutely fell in love with each other. It was a great bond, teamship, work ethic, support, accountability. Helena and I kind of teamed up, and she joined me out on the course as my support runner. And then I did the same for her. So I got the front row seat at seeing her absolutely crush the first time she ever did this. I joined her for the stair run challenge, and she clinched a gold in there and came away with even more medals in the toughest firefighter alive as well. Just such an incredibly wonderful human being. And today's conversation is around, I suppose, opening up the door as an insight into the mindset that this kind of thing takes, because Helena has a lot of self-doubt. She has had her own challenges in her past, and these things still show their head in her own self-confidence at times. It took a lot. You know, people will see her out there crushing it on the course and think, wow, this person must just have a bulletproof mindset and just be so mentally savage, just getting after it every day. Nothing could affect that mindset. But you know, that's not the case. Helena works a lot on this. She does a lot of mindfulness. She gets out in the hills. She prioritizes her rest, her sleep, her hydration, her food. And this stuff isn't easy. You know, I always say there's no solutions, only trade-offs. And you do have to make choices in life. If you want to be performing at your very best, whether it's for Helena out in High Rocks, or in her operational duties as a firefighter, or out there on the Firefighter Challenge course, you've got to hold yourself accountable. You've got to make those decisions. You've got to learn when to say no. And only through doing that can you really begin to stand for something that matters. You can really make a difference. So Helena will be coming back to the British Firefighter Challenge this year. Hopefully she'll be making a return to one of the podiums. But also, on what I love about her approach today and how she articulates herself is that she's really encouraging for other athletes as well. She's always ready to give advice. She's always ready to support other people. So if you look in the notes for this, you will see a link to her LinkedIn. You can reach out to Helena, and if you're thinking about doing a firefighter challenge, maybe share some tips, maybe share some advice. You would be a fool not to connect with her. And also, I want you to take away some aspects of the value of association, the people that you put yourself around. Toxic people leak. They leak into your mind. They leak into everything around you. Now, that can be difficult because you can't always choose your family or even your watch. But a lot of stuff is in your sphere of control. You know, myself, Sarah, Chrissy, Helena, John, Charlie, James, Mac, Zach, Mark. A lot of these great people make time in their life to spend time around other high-performing individuals. So I'll be seeing Helena at the Women in the Fire Service, which again is another great example of putting yourself around high-performing individuals who are part of a supportive network, who want to see you win, want to see you perform, want to see you reach your goals. So there is lots of opportunities, there's lots of resources out there. I always say it's never your resources, it's your resourcefulness. Life is boring for boring people. The fire service is boring for boring people. But if you seek opportunity, if you're willing to put yourself out there, it's incredible what you can achieve. It's incredible who is there to help you. So a big thanks to Helena for coming on today, offering her help, guidance and support, but also being so vulnerable, being so open, being so honest. It's been a real privilege having a conversation with her today. I hope you take a lot from it. Please share this with someone who is thinking about going for their first firefighter challenge. You couldn't get a much better story of success on this one. And for anyone else that's coming to the Welsh Firefighter Challenge, I will be there hosting once again. That is the beginning of June 1st and 2nd in Wales. We'll put a link in there for the links as well. If you go into the Women in the Fire Service, 7th, 8th and 9th of June, I'll be there. And then once again, the British Firefighter Challenge, the key cornerstone for Firefighter Challenge fitness everywhere in the UK, 26th, 27th and 28th. Most importantly, the 27th and 28th, the last weekend in July. British Firefighter Challenge. I will be there hosting and competing once again. Helena will be there, Christy, Sarah, John, the whole team. You cannot register for it because you missed your slot, but come and have a look, come and support, come and meet these high-performing individuals and come and immerse yourself in an environment that will help you learn and grow. All of those links will be in the notes for this, but without further ado, please welcome Helena Brown. How's your body feeling since Saudi?
Just about recovered now, actually. Yeah, took a while, especially after the Toughest Firefighter Alive challenge itself. That was very painful.
Did you manage to get all the medals in your suitcase?
No, I didn't actually. My trophy is actually on its way. I just got a message this morning saying I'll get a tracking number.
Wow.
It's just on its way now.
They were massive, weren't they?
Mission.
Bloody huge things.
Huge. Well, yeah, the stair climb one was big, but the TFA one was absolutely massive. Like, if I won that, I wouldn't even know where to store it. I'd have to put it at headquarters. No space in my apartment.
I think it was so surreal when we were out there, because so many people will have seen the stuff that you posted on your socials and mine, and they'll have seen the other competitors. But like for you, for Sarah, for a few other people, that was their first bit. Well, actually, no, you did obviously the BFC and crushed that last year. But this was like the first big international thing. Try and help people to give a comprehension for the sheer scale of this thing. And then I'd love to cycle back into like when you started doing this, because I feel like head over heels in love with you with a bestie, but we only really met each other like a couple of months ago. And then the whole team just kind of fell in love with each other on this really whirlwind, weird adventure that we went on.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Gore-Tex Professional Fabrics. Now, we all know the working environment of a firefighter is filled with challenges. We face serious risks on the job, such as heat exhaustion, burns, physical and mental stress, and we frequently come into contact with high levels of toxic chemicals. Now, I have been wearing Gore-Tex for nearly 2 decades on the front line, working in hostile environments, tackling challenging incidents from firefighting to water incidents and in urban search and rescue environments. Gore-Tex have a well-earned reputation for protecting professionals in the fire and emergency services through their family of highly innovative, waterproof, breathable moisture barriers that exceeds global performance standards and are trusted worldwide. Gore-Tex, going further together.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It was so well organised. They put in a lot of money into, organising the event, setting it all up, getting all the competitors over. They really looked after us. It was a great experience, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities. Not many firefighters will get the opportunity to do like an event like that, so I'm forever grateful for it, and hoping to go back in 2026. Let's see.
Oh, mate, we will be. Me and Charlie have been talking all about that. We touch base every couple of weeks, and it's going to be an amazing adventure. But it was really difficult when we were talking about who should come, because this was a whole new adventure for myself and Charlie, and he didn't really have any background in the firefighter fitness stuff. But you kind of burst onto the scene last year to just kind of give people an understanding of helping them connect the dots, because you're still really early on in your fire service career, but you're not a stranger to like fitness and competing and stuff.
Yeah, so obviously the British Firefighter Challenge was my first ever experience of these type of events. And the only reason I actually signed up for the event is because Chesney, who was my crew manager at the time, was one of the directors of the BFC, and he encouraged me to sign up. So I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Okay, so once I'd signed up, I was committed. And I'd say about 2 to 3 months before the event, I started training specifically for it. Realised, wow, this is tough. And I think because our brigade was hosting the event, I wanted to do well. I thought all the senior management is going to be there, so I want to perform well and do well for my brigade. So yeah, I'd say 2 to 3 months before I started training specifically for it. I put a kind of training program together and I stuck to it. And I just thought, as long as I get it under 6 minutes, I'll be happy, because that's the cut-off time. And yeah, to my surprise, I got under 4 minutes, so I was well chuffed.
Help me understand, because you put a lot. This is something you and I had a couple of like private conversations. Because I was lucky enough, you asked me to come out on the course with you, and it was great to be able to share the moment with you. But like, there was a couple of conversations we had around that level of pressure that people put on themselves and being ready for. I remember reading Sabrina Cohen-Hatton's second book, The Gender Bias, where she says like men will apply for a job when they have roughly 40% or something like that of the competencies and requirements, whereas women won't apply for a job unless they have unless they have a firm belief that they have 90% of what's required. And I think there's like things like there about imposter syndrome and about, I always say with things like first aid, it's like 90% confidence, 10% skill, and people will laugh at that and say, "Oh, you're stupid, Pete, you're dangerous." But what I mean is, self-belief is like the relationship you have with your own reputation. And I don't mean your reputation you have with other people. I mean like the promises you keep to yourself. But that can also, when pressure and like that self-expectation can tip over to the unhealthy, where it just becomes constant stress and cortisol. Like you do put a lot of pressure on yourself. How do you walk that thin line of not... Yeah, like, and this is like, I don't know inside your head, and we've only had a few chats, and you're very close to Sarah, and you guys have had some amazing chats. But like, how do you walk that line of not being so stressed, where it's I can't sleep, and that anxiety versus excitement?
It's really hard. I do put a lot of pressure on myself, not just in like these events and sport and stuff, but in my life. Even when I was joining the fire service, I put so much pressure on myself to do well and to get into the job. Every day I was working towards that goal, doing the bleep test, doing my maths and English test, visiting fire stations. I gave it 110% because I knew how difficult it was to get in. So yeah, with the British Firefighter Challenge, I did put a lot of pressure on myself because I wanted to do well. And I think this is why other brigades invited me to... So I went to Liverpool to speak about my experience of the British Firefighter Challenge, because they apparently had an internal event, Merseyside's Toughest Firefighter, and not many females took part. So I was asked by my Assistant Chief Fire Officer to visit Merseyside and just explain my story. And I just explained it like, because I know a lot of females won't put themselves out there because of fear and doubt. And I wouldn't have put myself out there unless Chesney had like persuaded me to do so. So I know how it feels. I just wanted to share my story and let them know that, I have these pressures and this fear and doubt, and, it's scary. You put yourself out there. There's a lot of people watching. It's hard for me to deal with that pressure sometimes. I started doing some meditation and listening to different athletes and how they cope with the pressure, because the Welsh Firefighter Challenge is coming up and I didn't put myself forward for that. And I knew I could have. But again, it's that pressure that I'm putting on myself. And I thought, let me just focus on one thing at a time.
No
So I've got the British Firefighter Challenge coming up. And then I've got High Rocks after that, like one thing at a time. But yeah, that's me.
In other news, this episode is brought to you in partnership with MSA Safety. Today we have them to thank for the improved firefighter safety through connectivity in their brand new connected firefighter system. At the centre of the connected firefighter platform is the MSA M1 SCBA with telemetry. You can view battery life, air pressure and estimated time remaining either independently on the M1 itself or from the Luna connected device screen. Also, still with the air status, alarm information, search status, and all of this provided to the incident command for confident decision making during the scene. That integrates straight in with the Luna system, which is a wireless all-in-one device creating an independent search and rescue network, providing edge detection, enhanced personal thermal imaging, while simplifying post-scene reporting and data retention. One of the key parts of the Luna is their FAST system, the Firefighting Assisting Search Technology. This combines directional and distance information with thermal imaging to help find separated teammates and decrease response time. It actually connects you to the other crews in the vicinity for a unified search during the time of mutual aid by instantly notifying the network of Luna devices when there is a downed crew member, allowing for a prompt search and rescue. All of this then plugs into the FireGrid system for cloud-based connectivity, real-time information, and data-driven decisions for the incident commander. It enables you to see the exact location of your firefighters on the scene. And it doesn't require you to be sat on the station. The MSA Hub then provides a wireless gateway straight to the cloud, enabling wireless on-scene data for local and remote incident command for additional eyes on the scene. MSA are truly taking massive strides in the future of improved firefighter safety through connectivity. MSA is dedicated to increasing safety in the fire service through technological advancements. Various feature enhancements, new products, partnerships, and integrations will provide additional capabilities readily accessible by products, software, and services in the brand new MSA Connected Firefighter platform. Now back to the show. There's a balance there between that expectation effect, because now you've sort of done something and established yourself. And this is the thin line I always think about with services. Like, you've got a tremendous amount of support from your service, which is great, and we acknowledge them for that. But like, when I spoke to Bronte, she was talking about the difficulty in being put forward as like the poster child. She's similar to yourself in the fact that she's very early on in her career, and it's great that it's that difference between acknowledging, celebrating, and like appreciating your staff, but not wanting to plaster them everywhere. And because I know you struggle to say no because you're such a freaking nice person, but I also say, like, you can set yourself on fire trying to keep everybody else warm and just saying yes to everything because, I'm a good person. And that's the thing about the fire service. It's like, you join it because of the values, you join it because of the outcome, not the income. You don't do it for money. But you can it's like a black hole. Like, you can't fill the fire service up. You can't complete firefighting. And you can go to all the community events, do all the community stuff. Oh, by the way, Jules King says hi. I was talking to her earlier, and she said she met you when she was at the event. And she spoke very highly of you. She's really lucky. Actually. Yeah, there you go. She's looking forward to seeing you again at WFS, because we were talking about, I'm going to be there with the podcast. Awesome. Finally got that one nailed down. But how do you balance that aspect of still focusing on your own stuff? Because, like I say, set yourself on fire to keep everybody else warm, but like, you've got your own life, you love dogs, you've got your sport, you've got your own home, you're independent woman with your own life. And not, because you said again, like, we're a bit capped on time today, and that's my fault because we are capped on time. But then you were like, I'm going to go in early for someone. I'm like, for frick's sake. But I know that's just you being a good person, taking the benefit of the handover, working with another team. Do you know what I'm trying to say, though? There's a line where you can't pour from an empty vessel.
Yeah, I also try and make sure I do the things I enjoy, and that's hiking. I love just to go away and switch off. I'm doing that this weekend. Hopefully we have nice weather. Good. So far the weather looks dry. I'm going to spend 2 nights in the Lake District just climbing loads of hills, big hills. And that's like switch off from social media and just getting there amongst nature. I love it. And that's my like switch off downtime. I try not to spend too much time on social media because it can kind of stress me out a little bit because I think, oh God, am I doing enough? I see everyone training. So, especially you. I'm thinking, right, switch off. You're doing enough. You don't want to overdo it because you can burn out. You can do too much. In last year, before the British Firefighter Challenge, I wasn't training loads. I was doing enough. Taking those rest days is so important. Just have that downtime where you just like go for a walk, stay away from the gym. I like to go for saunas and steams as well. They're great for recovery and just for relaxing. And like I said before, I like to do a lot of meditation, yoga, love my yoga. And that's the time for me to switch off and just focus on me and just relax.
Can we expand on that a little bit? Like, you've given some great tactical solutions for people that are worried about overworking and burning out and all that sort of stuff. I always used to struggle with rest days. I had to get a coach again. Because I also think the hypocrisy of being a coach for ages and then not having a coach for ages. I'm like, well, I'm doing a new thing now. Like, you did your High Rocks. I'm doing my first High Rocks this year. You've given me some amazing tips. I'd love, even though I know I'm going to ask you to repeat stuff we've had in private conversations, like, there'll be loads of people that struggle to take the message because of the messenger. And what I mean by that is, and Jules and the WFS girls say it fantastically, like, you got to see it to be it. And hearing it from the authenticity of someone like yourself, where you have walked the walk and taught the talk and come away with the t-shirt and the ground jewels and all that jazz. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, but what does training look like for you? When is enough enough? And how do you discipline the rest days? Ever heard the quote that true leaders are readers? Well, we believe this is true. Listeners often ask where we go to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the sector globally. So there are a few key publications which I encourage you to go check out. Now, if you're looking for insights on disaster management, fire protection and firefighting, for us, we go to Asia Pacific Fire Magazine. And when you're looking for the latest on the Middle East fire protection industry and fire services, it's Gulf Fire Magazine. And our quarterly check-in is with International Firefighter Magazine, reporting to municipal, industrial and fire training professionals. Now, next next up, and widely accepted to be the global voice for passive and active fire protection. This is a good one. It's International Fire Protection Magazine. And finally, and perhaps the most relevant to our predominantly UK audience, I'd strongly suggest subscribing to UK Fire Magazine, reporting to the United Kingdom fire protection industry and fire services. We're really excited to announce that after a long-standing relationship and mutual respect, we've now partnered with MDM Publishing, who bring you all of these essential publications. Because in a world of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned shall find themselves perfectly suited for a world that no longer exists. Eric Hoffer said that, and I believe he was right. So keep growing, keep learning, and keep yourself in the know and at the cutting edge of what's happening globally by dropping into the notes. And as a gift from the podcast, you can actually subscribe to any of these publications for free using the link in our notes. Now back to the show.
So what I do is I like to get a lower body session in, like just focus on my legs, an upper body session, some HIIT training. Obviously my hiking is very important, and I just listen to my body. If I'm feeling sore, I'll take the next day off, or I'll go for a steady state cardio, like a jog or something like that, or on the bike. Just take it easy, let my body recover, go for a sauna, cold shower, steam room. So yeah, I always listen to my body, and obviously my Garmin, if my body battery's low, I tend to not train them in those days. I also prioritize my sleep. Sleep is huge. I like at least 8 to 9 hours, possibly 10 sometimes if I've had a hard day's training. Yeah, sleeping, eating the right food as well, refueling your body, hydration, as you know, we speak about it a lot.
What does eating the right food look like? I mean, I don't want to get into the vegan versus everything conversation or any of that jazz, but like, what are the easy, I know some of this is obvious, but to some people, they'll be like, yeah, but come on, Helena, like, I work on a fire station, so you don't want to be the lunchbox girl or the lunchbox guy all the time.
I'm not.
No, sorry guys, can't be in on the meal because I've got my rabbit food and my dehydrated whatever. Yeah, but that's tough, no, because honest, then it's like.
So because I must have a high metabolism, I burn so many calories, so I do eat with a watch. We do have big meals, and it tends to be healthy. If we have chips, it's normally in the air fryer, so it's not too bad. I'll have a big bowl of porridge in the morning, get my protein powder in there, nuts, seeds, almond butter. I try and snack on fruits. My lunch could be like chicken with rice, broccoli, beetroot. But I'm eating really healthy, but I have to eat quite a lot just to keep the calories in, because, like I say, I burn so much, and I'm quite lean.
Do you drink?
I've kind of stopped drinking. I used to love wine.
We didn't drink at all in Saudi, did we? Yeah, and I'm like,
we didn't. No,
I think it's because I think the gym and fitness and all that jazz is becoming the new pub. You know what I mean? The CrossFit boxes and the whatevers of the world. That's where we're getting our social time. And drinking seems to really be dropping off the radar for a lot of people. But it's still very culturally, it's a social lubricant, isn't it, for people?
Yeah, I rarely drink anymore. Like I say, I used to enjoy the odd glass of wine here and there. Don't get me wrong, I do go out with my friends and I might have a couple of glasses of wine, but when it comes to like 10 p.m, I'm like, right, guys, I'm tired. It's bedtime for me.
That's why I don't like inviting people around my house, because I can't just go to bed when they're here.
No.
I like to go to other people's houses and go out somewhere so you can just say, that's enough for me, folks. I'm going to hit the hay.
That's enough. Leaving. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, I don't really drink that much. And like you say, it massively affects your training anyway.
Yes.
It does for me.
I think like when you're younger, you can jump around all over the place. Yeah, you can take whatever you want, drink whatever you want, do whatever you want, and still crush a workout the next day. Now, it's like, Jesus, you'll be hanging out your arse for ages when you're doing that sort of stuff. No, I don't think. Oh, I am, aren't I? I just look really old. That's what I always forget. I look like some bloody grey-haired 40-year-old balding old man. But anyway, we digress. So when you were going up for the BFC last year, and you've now been and passed that advice on, what was the actual, so just give people the rundown of what the BFC was like versus the TFA, because they'll have seen the stuff you did. And like when I went round with you, your second round, we had the heavier casualty and we had the wall was a very scary thing for people. Just talk to us about some of the elements. Like you're coming over to train with me and the team at some point soon. The force machine and accessibility of that can be difficult. What are some of the key things? I mean, you obviously crushed it, but in your own self, because I know how self-critical you are, you'd have been like, I need more work on X. And that bit there, I got lucky or it caught me out. What are the advice that you wish you'd have told yourself? If you're a regular listener to the podcast, then chances are you are big into your own personal development and the development of firefighters around you. So I wanted to remind you of our mobile app Drill Book. This is a free training and development resources made by firefighters for firefighters. Heading on to Drillbook, you will find incident debriefs, radio messages, knots and lines, quick reference guides, quizzes every single day. We've got useful links to the ERG, to Web Rescue, to Jessup, Euro Rescue, 10-second triage, National Operational Guidance. You've got trauma skills sessions and questions in there with 10-second surveys, patient handovers, questioning, bleed controls, vitals, major incidents, and not to mention our daily quizzes where you will find questions on extrication, casualty handling, breathing apparatus, fire development, water rescue, rope rescue, you name it. It is the go-to resource if you've got a spare 5 minutes on the firehouse to develop yourself and those around you. Not only that, if you're looking to get into the fire service, we've got advice on there on interview questions, interview answers. You can build your own questioning in there. We've got radio messages apps where you can develop and put together your own methane, if code, and a whole area dedicated to knots and lines and incident debriefs as well. All of the incident debriefs that we have gone through on the podcast, you'll find them there. And again, remember, this is built by firefighters for firefighters. So you can add your own drills in there. You can pick the drills that you find the most favorite. When you go to search for different drills in there, you can find breathing apparatus, hazmat, incident command, ladder drills, pumping, RTC, trauma skills, winching and recovery, urban search and rescue, height rescue, water rescue. There is literally hundreds of training ideas, hundreds of drills in there. And you can continue to build this library of resource for yourself and for firefighters all around the world. Remember, this app is absolutely free and it grows every single day down to the contributions of our thousands and thousands of users. So if you've got that favorite training drill and you want to share it with somebody else, get in there. If you're looking for ideas for training yourself and your crews, get in there. It's freely available on Android, Apple, and you will find it in the links for this podcast. Remember, it's called personal development. The clue's in the name. You've got to work twice as hard on yourself as you do on the job. So always be growing, always be developing. Now let's get back to the show.
The Kaiser Force machine let me down, definitely. It was a lot harder in Saudi than it was at the BFC. It just wasn't moving. And I don't have one of those to practice on. They don't, no. So it was really hard. And I think it took me like 25 hits or something. I wasted so much time on that. So I wish I'd practiced more on technique. But to be honest, before the TFA, I'd only trained specifically for it maybe the month before because I was just so focused on high rocks. And that was the end of January. And then, just first week in March, we were going to Saudi. So I had like literally February to get that training for TFA. So I just did what I could. So yeah, the wall climb was challenging. A lot of females didn't make the wall, unfortunately. You needed some upper body strength, definitely, for that. I think that's, when you're not in your fire kit, it's a lot easier. With fire kit on, after doing stage 1, halfway around stage 2, and then you've got the wall. That was really challenging. So
how do you build upper body strength and stuff like that? Because for women, on average, they can do 0 pull-ups. And that's not me being a dick, toxic male. Like, I was reading something on the other day, and I was like, pull-ups are goddamn hard. Like, Martin, the Brazilian guy that I had a chat with out there, lovely bloke, yeah. And he was like, to join the fire service out here, it's a minimum 15 pull-ups, men and women, and then you get more points for as many as you get. And I was like, dude, I would struggle to do 15 strict pull-ups. And he was laughing at me because he was like, and I was like, seriously? He was like, and he can do like 32. And I was like, what the frick?
Wow, that's impressive.
Like, I know, it's just ridiculous. But like, for women, it's especially difficult, stuff like that. And I also think how you did really well on the hall, which actually is something where I see women really struggle as well. So talk to us about pull-ups and pulling your body up. If anybody wants to go and do travels, like Chrissy and stuff are going and doing all the crazy travels, and there's some walls involved in a few of them. And I think one of the UK models, they're looking at putting a wall in to make it slightly different. I don't know if the Cheshire are going to do that, Talk to us a little bit about how you've built that up and the hall as well, because that's demoralising when you see it start slipping back down and people lose their grip on the rope.
Yeah, that was tough. I do pull-ups, so I incorporate pull-ups, bench press, lat pull down, bent over rows, push press, all in my upper body workout. So I can do pull-ups.
I'm going to ask you a possible question. 10. If I asked you for 10 exercises, you're only allowed 10 exercises to train for the BFC. What would they be?
Deadlifts.
I'll keep count. Okay, deadlifts.
Deadlifts, standard deadlift, not the RDL. Is that what you mean? Power clean, upright row, push press, burpees for that.
These are all barbell movements. None of these are dumbbell.
Yeah, barbell.
Okay.
It's snatch, dumbbell snatch, Again, it's just that power, that
Yeah,
explosiveness.
definitely.
Box
Yeah.
jumps, step ups, like definitely weighted step ups.
Box jumps, wait, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 7 there already. You've only got 3 left.
Walking lunges.
Okay.
And
You're getting
split
into your high
squats,
rocks
because it's a
territory now,
lot of
aren't you?
legs. What's that?
You're getting into your high rocks training now, walking
Yeah,
lunges.
exactly. Yeah, all crosses over, I guess.
The dummy. Talk to us about the dummies. The dummy drag is, again, just crushing. You're smoked by the time you get to the end of it. In the TFA, obviously it was the second phase, so people had more gas in the tank. But in the BFC, that is just, you end up getting 4 or 5 people around you screaming you on, and some people just they just can't seem to sustain that. Like, how do you manage your tempo as well? Because like you say, you've got a 6-minute time cap. How do you not go too hot?
So I was fine with the dummy because in training, we did some training with our senior management team because they were taking part in the relay. And I went all out on the stairs, everything. I went all out, got to dummy, and I swear down, I almost dropped it like 3 times. I was like, please, the chief's here, he's watching me. Don't, in my head, I was like, don't drop it, don't drop it. And I managed to get over the line without dropping it, but
Oh,
I was
mate.
absolutely gassed. And days later when your lungs are still hurting, I never pushed myself that hard
Yes.
ever. So I said to myself, I am not doing that on the day. I want to make sure that I get to the dummy and I've still got enough in the tank to get over the line. It kind of scared me a little bit, to be honest. So yeah, I paced myself throughout the BFC. And if you watch my video, I literally pace myself up the stairs. I just go, it's like more haste, less speed. So when I got to dummy, I still had enough in the tank to take it over. I maybe could have went a bit faster, but again, it's that fear of gassing out. And I'd seen people the day before sprint up the stairs, get to dummy. This Estonian guy as well, really fit, really strong, and he couldn't pick up the dummy. He kept picking it up and dropping
Yeah,
it.
I
And I bet he was
know.
devastated
I
because he didn't
know.
complete it. Yeah, and the Estonians are so fit and
And he was
strong. They
such a fit
smashed the
guy.
relay.
I know.
That very fit,
That aspect
but
of it
again, it just
is
went too fast
so
too soon.
demoralising when they do that. Do you ever do sled work? Do you ever do, or do you just do dummy drags?
Yes, I do sled work, yeah.
Yeah, sled work's a game changer. Because going backwards, the load on the front of your quads and the patella tendon work, walking backwards is very different. It's very different. I did loads of it for knee rehab when I tore my patella tendon off, and now I still do it all the time because it feels so nice for your knees. Funnily enough, it strengthens things you've never worked before, and if you've never done it, it will smoke you.
Yes, I've been doing more sled work now, actually. I'm back on the sled push. I've not done it for a while, since High Rocks, actually. And I love the sled work. It's fun. So yeah, I did some sled pull, actually. Just put something around my waist, attach it to the sled, and then I was just walking backwards to imitate the dummy drag. So yeah, that was fun.
Today's podcast is powered by our partner Lifelines and their revolutionary approach to functional hydration. Just like in firefighting, water is essential for body function, but studies show more than 80% of firefighters are dehydrated. A 25-year study findings from the National Institute of Health showed poor hydration to be linked to early aging and chronic disease, and even mild dehydration results in significant negative impact outcomes including headaches, exhaustion, rapid pulse, irritability, and poor cognitive function. A study conducted by Yale University showed that participants who were just 1% dehydrated had a 12% increase in errors when performing tasks that required cognitive flexibility. In addition, dehydration is shown to worsen mood and attitude, contribute to confusion and poor decision making, and negatively affect memory and judgment. In other words, you really don't want your incident commander, firefighter, or for that matter any first responder on a critical scene to be even slightly dehydrated. Mild dehydration occurs when a person is just 1.5% dehydrated, a condition that does not even trigger the thirst response in most people. So just imagine how quickly a firefighter or any first responder can and does become dehydrated in their day-to-day duties, which is why I address my hydration first thing every day with Lifelines. Go into the notes for this episode and specifically check out Lifelines Hydro Fuel and Hydro OG by clicking in the notes for the podcast for a clean energy solution designed for those who demand more from their day. Now back to the show. You will have looked, people won't have seen it because I only sent it to you obviously, but you will have seen the video back of your TFA thing because we recorded it all, didn't we? Was there any reflections on that? Because it's likely that we may or may not be going back out at some point in time. Any little bits that you took away from that?
Yeah, I did play the video back, actually. I was dreading it, but yeah, I remember I had a bit of a mare on my helmet, didn't I? My helmet just came over my eyes.
We weren't sure about. Well, I think you wore the set too high, which was difficult because the set was too high, and then when you went through the tunnel, it kept bashing it, didn't it?
Yes, it's because I've got long legs and a shorter body, so my set does actually sit high on my back. So yeah, and
Mm.
I don't think the fitting was right of the helmet. So Rosenbauer had been out and refitted the helmet for me because I do have a little small head. So I had that issue of it when we're doing the hose makeup. It kept falling down. I couldn't see. And he said to me, remake the
Yeah.
hose. Like, no. But luckily you were there. Just turn it on its side and flatten it, or I would just took it all apart if you weren't there to guide me.
Oh, no, 100%, because it's balancing those time caps versus the penalties, because it's a judgment
Yeah.
call on what's this going to cost us. Right, pause, rethink, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And you haven't got a big bucket head like me or Matt Adams where you could fit anything. I had flashbacks of John Gregory when when it kept falling off his head. He had a mare at a BFC once. It was hilarious. I'll get him to send you the video. I know we're tight on time, but it'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge Rosenbauer. You mentioned about your kit there. Talk to us a little bit about kit, why you chose to sort of work with Rosenbauer, and obviously we'll give them a little shout out, but what were they kind enough to provide you with, and how do you feel that set you up for success?
Yeah, Rosenbauer have been absolutely great. Like I was looking at buying my own kit anyway, and then I applied to be an ambassador for them, and I was accepted, and they invited us down to Holmfirth, where they're based, and they gave us loads of free goodies. I picked the Fireflex suit, the
Mm-hmm.
Heroes Titan helmet, and the Borough Cross B3 boots. Really comfortable, like really nice fit. The boots, the suit as well, and yeah, it's great kit, great quality, really good quality. So, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously they personalised it all for me. It's got my name on it,
I
and
know. Look great in it.
got
I was
loads of
trying to steal it,
freebies.
but I just couldn't get one arm in the damn thing.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. They've been great, Rosenbauer, very supportive, and they're also sponsoring my race at the British Firefighter Challenge.
I
So,
know they
that's
are.
more
I saw
pressure.
them. But also
Yeah.
there, it's a good thing before we close. Like people will say, "Oh, Helena's got her own kit, blah blah blah." That's not fair, whatever. But I always say to people, I've said it to you, like you do like work with like lifelines and stuff, and people are giving you support there. I always say to people, shy kids don't get sweets. Like you've got to be willing to put yourself out there to fail and look stupid before people want the thing without taking the risk. Do you know what I mean? So just help us understand and maybe just give a bit of encouragement to people that feel like I won't go for the thing because I might look stupid. Yeah, but there's a risk of looking stupid all the time. I do it on a weekly basis on the podcast, and I usually do look stupid. But it's like no one really cares, and you won't get those
Mhm.
opportunities unless you put yourself out there. So you've been willing to put yourself out there. You got absolutely nothing to start with, and then you started getting support, from your service, from partners, but you had to put the work in. It's the Muhammad Ali quote that the championship's not won under the shining lights. It's in the gym. It's the hours of boring, boring stuff. Like, help people understand your relationship with failure and putting yourself out there. Coming on here and having a conversation with me and being like,
So,
Pete, I don't want to sound like a dick. I don't want to embarrass myself. But you're willing to take that risk because this is more than just you. Do you know what I mean? You stand for something as someone that's brave and new to something and still the beginner and is
mhm.
really just going for it.
Yeah, well, when I signed up to the Firefighter Challenge, I did feel way out of my comfort zone. And I thought to myself, gosh, that's going to be. When I was watching the race on the Saturday, I was just so nervous and my heart rate was racing. My Garmin kept flashing up saying my stress levels are high, take some time out to relax. And I was just watching like the guys do their race, thinking, oh my God, that's going to be me tomorrow. And I kept thinking, what if I make a fool of myself? And like that night, I hardly slept a wink, just worrying about messing up, making a fool of myself, knowing that all our service is going to be there watching and supporting us. But I truly believe that when we take ourselves out of our comfort zones, that's when great things happen. And you just have to believe in yourself. And I do believe in myself. Sometimes it's hard to, and I keep having to remind myself, look at the great things you're doing. But it is about believing in yourself and your abilities and just having that confidence. Um, so yeah, it's just putting yourself out there and, like I say, taking a risk. You never fail till you stop trying. That's what I always say. Just go out there and do it. Give it your best. Yeah, and if you're thinking about signing up for the Firefight Challenge, just go for it. Honestly, it's such a great experience another well-organised event and you'll not regret it. You'll definitely want to take part again. Everyone's there supporting each other. You'll meet so many firefighters from different fire brigades all up and down the UK. You meet friends for a lifetime and you'll just have so much fun at the same time. So just, put yourself out there. Because I think there's more female firefighters coming through now. I was speaking to John Gregory and he said, I think 38%, and that's the most they've ever had, or something like this. I was like, wow, great. It's awesome. More females. Why not? Definitely.
Stuff like that is just, any service would snap their hand off to achieve the diversity, inclusivity, healthy environment of high performers that things like the Firefighter Challenge community represents. And I think it's only down to people such as yourself. I love having people like you, Sarah, John, James, Zach, Matt, everyone, people like that in my kind of little close circle, my little besties. And even if you don't see them for 3 months, 6 months, we're getting together, you, me, Sarah, and a whole bunch of other men and women going for this great walk next month. And that's great. You're like a great low maintenance friend, because I know if we don't talk for months, it doesn't matter. And we can still catch up on a weekend, have some food and have an awesome time together. But I'd take massive inspiration from you and from all those people. And it kind of holds me accountable to the best version of myself. So I would encourage people to do exactly what you said. Even if you don't feel like you're going to compete in it, come along, meet people, have conversations with Helena, with John, with the other athletes that are there. There's so many people, Chrissy, great experiences. Come and dip your toe in that ocean and you will just get bitten by the bug. But I know we're tight on time. Thank you so much for coming on today. I absolutely love you with every piece of me, and I can't wait for us to spend some more time together. You're one of those people that like we meet and then it's like, oh, it's my kind of human being. It's one of you see yourself in other people. Would it be appropriate to put a link to your Instagram in here or LinkedIn, or if people want to reach out for some more advice, what's the most appropriate way? Don't give your email address away, but which would be the best place for people to reach you?
Yeah, reach me on Instagram. It's Helibrow.
Okay.
.11 is my Instagram.
We'll stick that in the links, but I know you need to get off to work because you're going in early. You want to develop yourself and learn from everybody else because you're a crazy sausage. But hopefully it's not too crazy busy. Get that sleep in, which I know you will. I love you lots, and I'll see you in a month or so.
Yes, thank you. It's been great to speak to you.
The Firefighters podcast was created to recognize, acknowledge, inspire, and hopefully even motivate these incredible individuals who have chosen to be part of the first responder community. Our driving purpose is to create a legacy resource for the current and future generations of firefighters and first responders. We get some incredible feedback from listeners and guests, and as the podcast grows, our desire to create longevity and sustainability means that we are asking for the support of our listeners. If you want to support the podcast, if you want to get discounts to our merchandise, hoodies, clothing, coins, patches, tallies, and also access to all of the incredible documents get shared with us from our podcast guests and sector leaders, then please head over to our Patreon page, and for just £3 a month, you can support the future of the podcast. Please finally hit that follow, subscribe, or rate button on the platform you're listening, and wherever you're around the world, please support your emergency services responders, and thank you for listening.